record. I want to record stuff. Something weird. And that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere, and you quickly put your foot on the brakes, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to stay calm despite the panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake. Now my husband is also pouring some ice into a thing. It's okay. You pull the emergency brake only to find that the car resists and keeps moving forward like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle, the wheels screech against the country road, and you're screaming until crash. Then you'd move it to the back. You move to the back seat. Honestly, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably just scream. There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumble for the door, and manage to unlock the lock. Just before the door is wrenched outward from your grasp, something lands on your shoulder. A hand. Are you alright? Oh, it's Stanford. The man stands at your open... What do you mean? Yeah, that's what it's like. Pretty a no-brainer there. Pretty much no-brainer. Yep. Huh? Yeah, that could be too bad. Sorry. A man stands at your open car door. His hand on your shoulder leaves to tilt your head up and pull a flashlight from his coat, shining it in your eyes. 2 blinks, and he lets your chin go. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for injuries. Still stunned, all you do is watch. What is your name? Regular person. And my name is Peach. Enter. What are my pronouns? I am she, her. Peach, I'm Stanford Pines. Ford for short. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up as it is. He looks grumpy. He is a pretty grumpy character. Have you seen Gravity Falls, Basil? You seem fine as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth were you driving in such a hurry? You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Yeah, you've seen it, but that face is extra grumpy. He's like raising an eyebrow right now, I think. Is like what his expression's supposed to be. It's very interesting. It's the mouth. What? Oh, okay. Poindexter, this better not be one of your experiments again. I've had this place rebuilt too many times too. It's Stan. The owner of the voice walks out the house and stops slack-jawed at the side of your car and the side of, you're guessing, his house. You must have hit your head earlier because you could swear you're seeing double. Sweet Moses, Ford, you've done it this time. What? This had nothing to do with me. I was testing my magnet gun and... It must have pulled this victim of circumstance into the house. I suppose it is entirely my fault. I'm incredibly sorry. Reassure him. Reassure yourself. Cry. Which one should I do? Thought they were the same person when you were younger. I mean, they're twins. Reassure myself. I can't believe this. My car. What's going on? Who are these men? Why did this have to happen to you? Everything's going to be fine. I'm gonna get through this. Hey, look, it's fine, alright? Sure, there's a dent in the hood from the shack's signage and a crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle, but I'm sure she'll still run. You try to start the car up. Start up the car. It sputters, but ultimately, nothing happens. You feel like crying. Oh. Well, let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul here and forget. I'll take care of it. You're right, it is cheaper to tow it yourself. Sixer got that magnet gun out again. Oh, Sixer got that magnet gun out again. Just oh. So, I think that would be my reaction, kind of, yourself. And then probably almost cry. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. What? You fixed this mess? I figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Nah, you're kidding me. It'll take some sort of extra. Ugh, I don't know why I keep saying extra. It'll take some sort of miracle worker to bring this baby back to life, and this miracle worker is on vacation. Stanley, a moment. Ford and Stanley turn away, and you're left with your thoughts. Who could anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of a road trip? You can take care of the car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you take a bus out of here, and then... Ford clears his throat, shifting it awkwardly in place. Seems like they've finished their talk. So there are a few options. My brother Stanley here could drive you out of town to find a place to stay for the night, or you could stay the night here. We have some maps and information you can look at in the gift shop, and in the morning we can help you with your car. What do you say? Just as you're about to answer, another high-pitched voice comes from inside the house. Grunkle Stan, picture this. A whole week of... Oh my gosh. The girl that runs out of the house comes to a halt at the sight of your car. How great. Grunkle Ford? Why is it that everyone automatically thinks I'm at fault? Well, this time it is my fault, but I invited Peach here to stay with us for the night if she'd like. I'm sure I can fix this, I just have to figure out how. Stanley sighs. I can take a look. Yeah, being on vacation's pretty boring, and the old Stanmobile hasn't needed tune-up yet, so it shouldn't be too bad to work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure I can put something together from the gadgets I have lying around. We stand Stanley, or you can kiss them. Have laying around if you need any specialized tools to help you with the job. And let me introduce myself. I'm Mabel. You can ask me anything. I pretty much know everything there is to know about this place. Wait, hold on. I haven't even said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay and to repair your car. Yeah, it'll be good as new in my hands. I mean, look at my Stanmobile. She's been through the ringer who knows how many times, and she's still a beaut. He points out a red car parked a distance away. You can't really tell how beautiful it is at this distance, but he seems really confident. Well, this is a turn of events. Well, this turn of events is fortuitous or suspicious? Fortuitous. Free repairs? Free lodging? There's no better deal to be found, and if things don't work out, the town probably has some sort of auto repair shop you can head to instead. Well, I accept. Thanks for the help. And my apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made such an elementary mistake. As the pines lead you inside, Mabel leaves her number in your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that the Ford twin goes by Stan. That Ford's twin goes by Stan. Okay. This part's the house, but just outside the door. Man, I'm stuttering. This part's the house, but just outside that door is the mystery shack.
What's wrong, Kitty?
But just outside that door is the mystery shack. Hey, you ever been to the mystery shack before? We stand. Hello. I wanted to actually. Yeah, my kitties is meow. Basil. I watched too, actually. I saw a bumper sticker while I was on the road and got curious. You're interrupted by a loud, triumphant ha! Those bumper stickers were a good investment, and Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic and don't even have an address on them, Stanley. How is anyone supposed to find the place to attract customers? Did you hear that? Well, they are graphically simplistic. I don't know how she found the place, let alone thought, what is the mystery shack was compelling. I kinda liked it. See, she kinda liked it. Hey, I like you, Peach. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow, regular price? Tomorrow? Then I'll have to squeeze all my get-to-know-you questions in today. Peach, tell me. Chupacabra, yes or no? At that moment, a boy in the hallway at the far doorway. A boy passes in the hallway at the far doorway and Ford calls out to them. Dipper, my boy, I'm surprised I didn't see you run out to the scene of the crime. Crime? What crime? I have an alibi, I swear. Oh, you have someone with you. Hey. I'm not suspicious at all. Did you guys see that car on the side of the shack, though? For a second I thought the Manotars were back with a grudge. Yes, about that. Dipper, meet Peach. I've, stranded her car here by accident. She's staying here for the time being. Sorry, stranded her car here? You crashed it? Yeah, the S in the shack fell on it and everything. And the windows are cracked. One window, the windshield. And Peach was lucky to make it out alive. She's fine. No injuries, thankfully. The magnet gun's rather safe, despite never having been tested in a formal setting. Yeesh. Did you not, take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation is that I was trying to install a safety precaution. Hey, if you two are gonna do your nerd talk, I'm going to get Peach set up. Mabel, sweetie, why don't you show Peach around? Let her stay in, storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. The rest of the day consists of Mabel showing you the storage room you'll be staying in, then the kitchen, and the living room, and the hallway, and the bathroom, and pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of the pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of a regular house day. Why do they have so many huge words in this? Okay. Eventually you find out that the family is even more extended than you knew. The decorative doilies make a lot more sense knowing a grandmother normally lives here and her grandson Zeus. Or was it Zeus? How's it going, dudes? Big words are bad, yes. Whatever the name, you look forward to meeting him when he comes for work in the morning. When you go up to the attic, Mabel opens the door to reveal Dipper, no stuck in his book, but you catch him occasionally glancing up at you as he pretends to read. The next member of the family snorts up at you from Mabel's bed, a rotund pink pig, who Mabel declares as her best friend and partner in crime, Waddles. The two are a perfect match, right down to the chubby cheeks and boop-a-bowl noses. I'm having a hard time reading this. I wish I could see things that were happening, instead I just read it with a black screen. And in the evening, though you'd still be in disbelief over the state of your car, the family, dinner, and after-dinner TV marathon you've been invited to made it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstance. Returning to the storage room Mabel had showed you earlier, you find an air mattress waiting for you and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. Okay, it's not so bad of a place. You wake up to the weak glare of sunlight streaming in through the small high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel room for that matter. And then yesterday comes crashing back to you. You glance at the time to see you've slept into the afternoon. Experiencing the accident yesterday must have left you tired out. Despite having been assured yesterday evening that you were free to anything in the fridge, you still feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try preparing as polite a guest breakfast as you can. You wash your dishes in the sink before you leave, and just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford. Excuse... Yes, from yesterday, of course. For a good solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. Ford clears his throat. I believe Stanley is taking a look at your car outside if you want to be there for it. Babe, can you get my water from the freezer? I'll put another one there. Overtalk gets got my throat horses. Thank you. Reminder to hydrate. Sorry for the drinking noise. Okay. I believe Stanley's taking a look at your car outside if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make to leave for real this time before You give a nod and make to leave for real this time when Ford speaks up again. And Peach, I'm sorry again for the accident. If I'd been smarter about, well, let's just say, it's entirely my fault, and you shouldn't worry about this at all. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. Weeks. You can't keep the dismay off your face, and can't really bring yourself to try to either. What am I going to do with weeks? Ford, who'd gone kind of uncomfortable and closed off when your face fell, recovers at the prospect of a question he can answer. Well, there's the town to tour, of course, and the mystery shack. But if you ask me, all that pales in comparison to... Hold on, do you hear that? Ford turns to the kitchen doorway to investigate. Sounds like... The sound comes again, and this time you hear it as well. The squeal of a pig, followed by a pair of quick footsteps running down the stairs. Waddles tumbles past the open kitchen doorway, and Mabel comes into view soon after, a few sheets of paper clutched in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen. You follow to the doorway, getting there just in time to see the apparent tug of war between Mabel and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. Oh, welcome back, Basil. The paper rips, and after nearly toppling backwards from her efforts, Mabel recovers, snatching the scrap of ripped paper from Waddle's jaws and lifting both pieces up victoriously. Ha-ha! Mabel wins again. Now I just gotta find Uncle Ford. Ford, who'd run forward and held out a hand to steady this energetic child when she'd been in danger of toppling over, now finds a number of crumpled sheets of paper shoved into his hands. Mabel tugs urgently at his coat. Uncle Ford, you've got to help me. Ford kneels down to face Mabel with a serious, though concerned look. Slow down, Mabel. What's the matter? Dipper found a stack of pages in your old journals, and I walked in, and Waddles ran up and started eating one, and he must have been chewing on it to warn me, Uncle Ford, because look! Mabel takes the ripped halves of paper back from Ford's hands and joins them together, holding it up for Ford to see. I see. And you took it as a warning? Yes, it says here it eats small dogs, and Waddles is a small pig, but he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles must have feared for his life. Waddles seems to second this notion with a snort. Or not, as it seems the pig is lounging adorably in a short distance away in the hallway. You can't imagine what this dangerous predator could be. Some kind of wolf? Something bigger? You're certainly not so keen on staying anymore. Remember the pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared that time, I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? You suppose pigs are allowed in museums around here? How about I finish that repellent I never got around to completing? That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Mabel flops down on the floor in relief. Uncle Ford, you're an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear. Ford chuckles, lifting himself out of the kneel and standing back up. Alright, I'll go get my recipe. Ford turns to leave, and you suddenly remember that with nothing to do for the weeks you're going to be here. I wouldn't have read that as pterodactyl because I keep forgetting how pterodactyl is spelled. Oh, that is so true. I'm so glad I said a pterodactyl instead of pterodactyl or something. It wouldn't hurt to get to know Ford. He seems to know what there is to do around town anyway, and you'll need that to not die of boredom in the first week. Or more pressingly, you could go check on your car and see what Stan's made out of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car in the side of the house again, though. What should you do? Get to know Ford, check on your car. I'm guessing getting to know Ford is the Stanford route, and checking on the car is the Stan route, or Stanley route. What? Let's go with Stanley first, I think. Check on the car. After Ford leaves, Mabel rolls away with her pig towards the living room, and you head out of the house in search of Stan. The mystery shack should only have 4 main sides, but you feel like you've made your rounds past 5 of them before finally seeing your absolute wreck of a car. You swear it looks even worse than it did when you crashed it. Do you want to smooch Ford or Stan? This is a Gravity Falls dating sim, babe. There, you can't. It's Swooning Stans. So Stanford and Stanley. Stands before. If Seuss was an option, honestly, I thought man, I wish Seuss was an option where it mentioned him. Stan stands before it, hands on his hips, as he looks at the large wooden S that's made its indent in the car's hood. How bad is it? Can't tell yet. Not till I get this letter off the hood. That S never did like to stay in place. Mystery hack, huh? Look, if you're going to insult me... Oh, you were reading the sign. I'm fixing that later, alright? Just avert your eyes, don't look at it. Mystery hack. I'm gonna offer to help him. Guess we should fix it as soon as possible then. Sounds good to me. Give me a hand here, would you? Stan directs you to help him push the wooden S off the car. It stalls a little in its own dent, but with another firm shove, its end meets the ground. Stan gives it another push with a grunt, and it tips, falling completely to the ground with a bump. Now that he's free of its burden, Stan lifts up the dented hood of the car to take a look inside. He hums and haws and rubs a hand over his chin in thought, walking over to his toolbox and grabbing a tool before walking back, still assessing the damage. Yeah, this one's gonna take a while. You've got parts that need replacing, not to mention she's not gonna look so hot after this, not unless Ford gets the tech squirreled away somewhere that can smooth out these dents. The more he tells you of the situation, the more of this all sinks in. You really are stuck here. Stan spots your worried frown. Hey, Peach, right? Look, I know how this sounds, but with me on the job, you'll be all set and back on that road in no time. You think so? Kid, I know so. I even got a plan to get those replacement parts of yours. Might not be able to clean up all these scuff marks after I'm done, but she'll run. And hey, so maybe you've got to stay a couple of days. So what? There are worse places to get stranded, believe me. In fact, I even say the Mystery Shack is the best place to get stranded. We've got all tons of stuff for people just passing through. Merchandise, magic, mystery, any other M words, mayhem, you get the idea. Stan tosses the tool in his hand back in the toolbox, exchanging it for another. He works for a while longer in your silence. Metallic clanks and the occasional heavy breathing, all that mix in with the sounds of the outdoors. You stand by, awkward, uncomfortable, and a little useless. Can I help with anything? Know anything about cars? No. Stan straightens, cracks his back, and sets down a tool before leaning casually against the nearest load-bearing surface. He wipes his forehead, lets his hand fall to his waist, and gives you an assessing look. How about collages? Tall tales? Improv? Yeah, I think I can handle that, but what does that have to do with this? You gesture at your stranded car, held in limbo between life and death by nothing other than Stan Pine's car expertise and a little luck. That's a really good line. Held in limbo between life and death by nothing other than Stan Pine's car expertise and a little luck. Nothing. I was planning on having you help Seuss around the shack, a favor for a favor. What'd you say? Well, it's more interesting than helping Ford with his pest problem? You accept. Alright, follow me. You follow Stan back into the mystery shack, passing by the showroom and getting a glimpse of an energetic figure leading a flock of tourists through the veritable sea of obviously fabricated oddities. You hear the words, "Ah, this is the 9th wonder of the world, right here in the mystery shack. It's what makes this place world famous, dudes. It's Seuss." Seuss. Stan notices your pace slowing as you listen and tosses an explanation back for you. That's Seuss. During operation hours, he's the Mystery Shack's one and only Mr. Mystery. I told him he didn't have to keep the shack running while he's on vacation, but that kid's got a passion for the role. You interested in this kind of stuff? I was thinking about going on a tour. Feels weird now that you're staying at a tourist trap though. And you were kind of going to poke fun at the exhibits. Harder to do when you live around your tour guide. It's fine, really. Nah, I think I want to give you a tour of the place. You'll get one from the founder himself. You ever hear one of my plugs on the radio? You weren't really paying attention to the radio during the drive, just taking in the Oregon scenery. See the signs pointing to this place for over a mile down the road? Again, you're pretty preoccupied with the Oregon scenery, but you guess you did see some signs with question marks on them. That's some vague advertising. Just seeing what works. Bumper stickers, huh? Ha, still got one on Ford. Anyway, follow me, folks. Well, folk, get ready to be amazed. Stan starts leading you back the way you came. You trail behind him, a little skeptical, but definitely curious. Didn't you say the founder would lead this tour? So Seuss the founder? Is Seuss the founder? Stan laughs. What? No, I'm the founder. Built this place from the ground up. Well, metaphorically speaking. I mean, the house was here and the junk was here, but I was the one who spun this place into a wondrous house of mystery junk. Mysterious junk. I read that wrong. Pardon the drinking water. Whoa. Stan gestures with his arms like he's smoothing out a rainbow. You're not very impressed. I mean, he's right. There are two of us, so folks is correct, but he doesn't. Yeah, there's two of us doing this at the moment. Prepare to be amazed. You're still not very impressed, but his energy gets you hoping you'll be amazed anyway. There's a tour group in the showroom right now, so I'll be taking a different cycle that completely misses them. We're starting in the gift shop. You enter the gift shop, a simple room crowded top to bottom with the standard tourist souvenirs and merchandise. You see t-shirts with question marks, mugs with question marks, and pretty much everything has question marks. In one corner of the room stands a lumpy attempt of a statue labeled the founder recognizable as Stan only by the nose and glasses. This room usually comes after I butter the customers up to buying things, but since you're staying a while, I'll have plenty of time to sell you stuff later. Take a look around. If you see an impulse buy, make it. Nothing like trusting your instincts. So founder statue. I want the founder statue. Jar of eyeballs, t-shirt, pine tree hat, Aztec calendar, freezer full of ice goods, pyramid of mugs, employee of every month. I'm gonna say I want to buy the founder statue. Yeah, I should have asked Mabel to carve it. You gotta admit that every version of me's got a charming smile, though. Oh, okay, it's not buying stuff, it's asking him about it. What about this jar of eyeballs? Thought we sold this thing years ago. Nah, I forgot to put a price on it, just has a dollar sign on it. Stan takes a dark marker and squeezes a $9.99. Then he goes back and makes it $29.99. That jar's got a lot of eyeballs. T-shirt. Who doesn't love a good souvenir t-shirt? They're great for layering. And they've got the characteristic Mystery Shack question mark symbol on them. What makes it a Mystery Shack question mark instead of just a regular question mark? You ask too many questions. Or do you? He says that last part with an exaggerated tone that betrays it as a sales pitch. This guy has no subtlety. Pine tree hat. Deborah used to wear one of these. Seuss tells me they sold like hotcakes after Ford tossed his journals into the bottomless pit. Funny, those events have no correlation. Journals? Bottomless pit? We'll have a chance to swing by the bottomless pit later. It's a prime spot on every tour because the troublemakers always accidentally trip in and I get to lead the tour without them for 20 minutes. I'm kidding. Should have seen the look on your face. Aztec calendar. I absolutely know how to read that thing and you should buy it. Freezer full of ice goods. Just because you're staying over does not mean you get to sneak over here for a popsicle. I get to do that, and that's because this used to be my place and I get founder benefits. I also get founder dibs on the pineapple ice pops. Pyramid of mugs. You can't actually take one out of that stack. I glued them together that way back when. Secret business trick. And you're telling me because no one will ever believe you. Then they'll try it and the whole stack will fall on the floor. You notice the you break it, you buy it sign on the wall. Employee of every month. Seuss has always been the hardest worker in this place. It was only natural to hand it over to him. I thought, what's her name?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wendy?
I forgot she works there too.
Is her name Wendy? I thought Wendy worked there. You sure? Well, I think the tour group... I hear the tour group heading out of the showroom anyway. Now, most tourists don't appreciate nature's artistic genius. By which I mean my artistic genius, because I remembered you're gonna help me out today. You don't think up money-making wonder like the Sasquatch by having a boring 9-to-5 office job. You think it up when you wonder, why hasn't anyone found the Sasquatch? Could it be that its name has been mispronounced this whole time? Anyway, just let me know when you've soaked up enough inspiration from this room, because you're going to need to use it right after. I thought we were going to get to look at things anyway. Alright, come on. You're going to see what makes this place the Mystery Shack instead of just the shack. We're making another attraction for the showroom. You follow Stan through the living room to the kitchen, where stuffing and animal parts are strewn across the surface to your left. Stan pulls out a thick needle and a spool of thread, and as an afterthought adds a couple nails and a hammer to the pile. It seems a little unsanitary to do this right across from the fridge. It has the potential to look almost gruesome if it weren't so oddly cartoonish. He steps up to the workspace and pulls at the googly eyes that have been glued all over the lifeless, classy ones typical of taxidermy. Mabel's contributions to the craft project remain firmly intact. That's what I get for letting Mabel bring her stash of scrapbooking supplies. That's one more thing to add to the backstory. Backstory? What? You don't think tourists are dumb enough to believe that the thing you're selling is what you tell them it is, just like that, do you? Because if you do, you'll be set to do business in Gravity Falls. Anywhere else, though, customers take a little more work. See, every good piece comes with some kind of story. Or if you're like Poindexter, some kind of lore. Horror stories work pretty well, because with enough suggestion, people can always find ways to spook themselves. Done it for years. It's kind of an art. Stan appears nonchalant, but you can see the quiet pride within him. Sounds hard. That's why I'm here, to make sure you do it right. You're still doing all the work, though. You said you've done this for years? Always had a knack for it, even when I was a kid. Sure, there was a little learning curve involved, and I've had a few unhappy customers over the years. Stan pauses, seeming to reminisce, and the mixed smile grimace on his face tells you that he's probably had many, many unhappy customers. But mostly I've run a great business on telling lies. I mean stories. You're learning from a true master, kid. So why don't you run this place anymore? You look like you're still a part of this place. What is your return shack? So why don't you run this place anymore? Stan's grin melts into something softer, maybe a little bittersweet. My brother wanted to drag me off on a trip with him. Couldn't say no, and I couldn't just close the place, so I left it all to Seuss. He practically grew up in this place, you know. Definitely wouldn't have trusted it to Wendy. She's usually the cashier around here in summer. It's weird having to explain all this to you. I keep thinking you already know this. This fourth wall breaking. Just what I was saying to you, like, didn't it Wendy? Ooh, you got peanut butter ice cream? Ooh. You work like you're still part of this place. You can take a man out of the mystery shack, but you can never take the mystery out of a man. Specifically me, which is why I'm back to work even though I don't have to. 30 years of the same routine will do it to that to ya. The way he speaks is kind of hard for me. My normal vernacular. Gosh dang, I'm getting all bull. I just noticed. Is this the thing we're working on? Is this rat thing? What was your original vision for the shack? Vision? Make money. What other vision do you need? But over the years, sure. I've used the mystery line for advertising. Who isn't curious? Who doesn't want to be amazed? Oh, is my VTuber small? How small is it? Oh, whoa. It must be from going back in and out. Why is it so small? Let me fix it. You move. Why does it keep doing that? I think it's because I go like this and it moves me out. Annoying. How do I lock you in place? Sorry, I'm fixing this out. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, though. This is a test run. There we go. Sorry, model movement locked. Hopefully that keeps it in place. I think it's because I turn my head like this way to side, and then it like is like, whoa, where'd you go? But I think that'll keep it in place, hopefully. But please bring it to my attention if it moves again. But thank you, Basil. Okie dokie. But over the years, sure, I've used the mystery line for advertising. Who isn't curious? Who doesn't want to be amazed? Kids are the most skeptical of the bunch, though, let me tell you. Once they hit about 8 or 9, they love trying to prove it's a fake. Then they get older and realize there's nothing good left in the world unless you pretend there is. And everyone pretends along with you because they're all desperate. Oh. That seems a little sad now. Stan turns his attention back to the workspace, and you notice once more the daunting selection of items that lay upon the table. It's not the number, but the variety that makes you unsure of how you're going to craft something out of this. Yeah, I don't know what you're going to do with this stuff. Surprise me. Stan walks off to the side to, you guess, do some of his own. You're glad he's not going to watch you the whole way through. How are you going to approach this? Piece together as many matching parts as you can. Piece together as many disseparate parts as you can. Keep things a nice mix of matched and mismatched. I think I'm going to keep a nice mix of matched and mismatched. Now, how should you keep all these parts attached? Use some hand stitching and really tie this all together. Use a stapler, it's faster. Hammer, nails, obviously. Ugh. Sorry. Okay. I think I'm gonna do some hand stitching. It really ties together. Okay, you have a base to work off of. What next? Add some sculpted details, color in some of the fur to accent the googly eyes. Just call it a day. Color in the fur. Okay. Hey Stan, I'm finished. Good enough. Stan picks up your disturbing creation up gingerly. So what's the story here? Give it to me. How do you want to approach this? More fact than fiction. I'm just gonna have fun with it. This is a fish, squirrel, chicken. Stan nods appraisingly. Sounds like you got the hang of this. Alright, this thing's about as close to show ready as it'll get. Wait here a sec. Stan carries the showpiece out of the room. After a few moments, you hear his footsteps return and he comes out of the room with 2 cans of Pit Cola. Stan sets one down on the dining table. Its condensation starting to slow drip onto the table surface. He waves you over to him, and you slide into the seat across from him. Nothing like a cold one to finish up the day. Cheers. Sharing a cold one though with the boys. Yeah, good enough. Yeah, I was like, oh dang it. I wonder if there's a way to make it like he's like, whoa, but I guess, eh. He picks up the can, gesturing towards you with it as he leans leisurely back in his chair, and you watch as he takes a sip. It's a nice looking sip, and now you're staring. I'm just trying to think of like what a nice looking sip looks like. It's a nice looking sip. You pull over your own can and pop it open. So, got any questions for me? Talking tends to ease me into a new place. Might do the same for you. About him. So tell me about yourself. Stan laughs nervously. What, is this a first date? Well, I'm Pines. Stan Pines, imaginator. Town darling, used to be proprietor of the Mystery Shack. He pauses and stays paused. You give him an expectant look that wants him to continue, and he clears his throat, nervous. What, you're serious? I don't get this often. The longest I can get people to listen to me is when I'm selling them something, and even then, it's tough luck. Yes, it is a first date. Accept it. The last time someone listened to me, they tried to eat me. Can you believe that? I barely got much meat left on me. You're not skinny, I would say. Not like fat or anything either. And keep going. You can't just end it there. Stan gives an uncertain smile, which becomes a full-on grin, and he laughs. Alright, I'll tell you. So you see, there's this irresistible thing called revenge. I'd be scared if a stranger said that to me. Stan tells you a tale of a road trip, a mountain full of mummies, and a woman who is secretly a spider. You don't believe a word of it, but you find yourself enjoying it anyway. Stan knows how to hold his audience in a decent suspense, and he seems to light up whenever you laugh at the right parts, grinning along with you. Before today, you'd never even heard of a Mr. Mystery before, but now you feel like you're really seeing something special here, one-on-one with the man himself. So, you got any questions for me about the exhibits? The showroom already seemed full when I saw it earlier. Why make more? Tourists love variety. Put up a sign advertising a new attraction and they'll come pouring through the doors. You would 100% believe that story because you're gullible like that? I don't know if I would believe it. I think I would be like, as soon as she turned, like, the story goes, like, and then she turned into a spider, I would be like, yeah, I don't think so. When I started this place, I didn't think I'd, like making these. Used to be just another thing that made money. Now I'm stuck with it. Guess 30-something years of routine will do that to a man. Stanton sounds gruff, but it's a fond gruffness. Sixer says keeping familiar habits helps too, so I've kept it up. You think I could sell some of these as art pieces? Yeah. Yeah, I could play them up to buyers and sell them at even more ridiculous prices than I usually would. Have you seen lawn Furbies? People would buy this stuff. So, you got questions for me? No more questions. Stan tips his head. I'm afraid asking about Stanford will make him think otherwise. I don't know. Stan tips his head back to get that final sip of pit. It just says pit. Furbies are scary. I kind of like lawn Furbies. They're interesting. Then sets his empty can down with an air of finality. Well, Peach, you did good for your first try. If you feel like helping me around again sometime, returning the favor on the car, let me know. You nod and Stan gets up to leave when you remember something. Wait, I still owe you the price of admission, right? For the tour earlier? Nah, don't worry about it. Gives me something to hold over you if I need it. He says that and he leaves, but even from what little you've seen from him, you feel like Stan's not the type to really hold that over you. At least not for anything serious. This tourist trap might have more to offer than you thought. The love murders. Looks like this is actually working out. Someone made a Furby snake that was horrifying. So it had no arms or legs. Ugh. You wake up to a loud crash downstairs. Not entirely uncommon in this house. You're quickly finding out, but still disconcerting. More clatters and thumps lead you to the kitchen, where Mabel teeters on a short step ladder in front of the pantry. Standing on her tiptoes, she reaches as high as she can for a small yellow box on the top shelf, pancake mix. Without a word, you go to her side and pluck the box from the shelf for her, placing it into her outstretched hand. Okay. Oh, Peach, thank you. Grunkle Stan put it on the top shelf for some reason, but I want to, some Mabel cakes. It's a breakfast emergency. She waggles her free fingers in your face and you can't help but laugh. You can tell the house becomes more alive when this kid's around. Now you want pancakes? Me too. Want to help me make them? We only need chocolate milk, coffee, pink food coloring, and pot of goldos to make this breakfast dream a breakfast reality. That doesn't sound too bad, to be honest. As delicious as that sounds. You're gonna go make pancakes because you can. Sounds good. You're inclined to ask where the coffee comes into the mix when you realize the house is suspiciously quiet. Mabel, where is everybody? Oh, Grunkle Stan needed stuff for your car, so he went to go get techie stuff for that. I think Grunkle Ford's somewhere. He heard that the abominable bro man was trying to steal soda from campers, so he went to... Oh, he heard the abominable bro man was trying to steal soda from campers, so he went to go help him out. Yep, that's where he went. Totally knew that. So they left you guys to make breakfast on your own? You don't know the family well enough yet to know this is commonplace, so the idea of leaving two teenagers alone to fend for themselves seems fine. If one of the teenagers wasn't Mabel, anyway. You still don't know how coffee fits into her Mabel cakes, but now you don't really want to know. Dipper attempts to hide the pancake mix from Mabel while she's grabbing the chocolate milk from the fridge. Apparently he doesn't want to find out either. Mabel, while your Mabel cake sounds absolutely divine, why don't we, quick, think of something so you don't hurt her feelings? Go out for breakfast. There's somewhere we can go out for breakfast? We should really save the Mabel cakes till your great uncles get back. I know they wouldn't want to miss them. But I want to perfect my recipe. I have to get better at cooking and baking and stuff so I can survive out there in the world. What if in high school I'll have to bake stuff and people are better than me? Mabel looks very agitated, tugging at her hair with both hands. If I can't make the perfect Mabel cakes, I can never be on the Bad Dreams dining. I gotta impress Gerald Rambone. Peach. It's my destiny. Gerald Rambone. Is that Gordon Ramsay? Maybe Dipper can help you make something different? We should save Mabel cakes for another day, a more special day. But Peach... Mabel is still standing on the stepladder, reaches up and squishes your cheeks together, her wide eyes staring into your soul. Every day is special with Mabel cakes. You glance at Dipper, making a please help me and I'll buy you breakfast face you hope he understands. Yeah, Mabel. I know you want to cook more since you're becoming an adult. Sure, but don't you think Grunkle Stan and Great Uncle Ford should be here to try them too? And not just me? Again? Yeah, Chinny's in action. We've had a couple problems with it already. You're right, Dipper. I can't deny them that experience. You give Dipper a thankful smile over Mabel's head as she puts the ingredients back in the refrigerator. He grins back at you, rubbing the back of his neck. You wonder if he got that from one of his grunkles. That's clever now that you think about it. Great plus uncle to make grunkle. Saves time on syllables. Someone else is finally here. It's been me and Basil for a bit. But I'm glad you're here, Randall. We should go to Greasy's. They have some of the best pancakes there, with like 3 different kinds of syrup if you ask Lazy Susan nicely. Yeah, it's not super far. Let's go. The kids are about to head out of the kitchen when you realize something. Wait, aren't you gonna leave a note for your grunkles about where we're going? Oh, right, good call. Dipper scribbles out a note for Stan and Ford's to Ford Forquist. And sticks it on the front door of the shack with one of Mabel's stickers. I always say Maple for some reason. Mabel. The kids lead the way towards the town, explaining various landmarks and the wild and wonderful stories attached to them along the way. And this is where we saw 2 ghostly old people in a convenience store? Strange, but you nod regardless. Maybe she just meant that they were so old they looked like ghosts. Maple. Maple would be a cute name too. Dipper points out the diner in the distance, a log-shaped building atop a train cart, and the 3 of you head inside. Yeah, it's close enough. Mabel. You soon realize that the kids know just about everyone in this town. Several people, young and old, wave at them as the three of you find a table, and you get the feeling that they're almost famous in Gravity Falls, though you're not entirely sure why. They're pretty cute, though. Mabel blows the paper wrapper of her straw at Dipper's face, and he retaliates by swatting her with the laminated menu. An elderly woman in pastel pink waitress dress comes up to the table, and you catch the name on her tag, Susan. In an alternate universe, their names are Maple and Dripper. I don't know about Dripper. Maybe Skipper. Maple and Skipper. Hiya, kids. And stranger. What can I get for you? Pancakes and all 3 syrups for me, please, Lazy Susan. Lady Susan. In alternate universe, it's Lady Susan, and she's all like, the restaurant is all like fine dining. Same for me, actually. Lazy Susan turns to you, notepad in hand. Well, you can't. I'm gonna do pancakes. Coming right up, sweetie. Lazy Susan winks, with her good eye, of course, and heads to the back of the diner. Stranger, hurt my feelings again. The wait for your food to arrive feels longer here than most, mainly due to Mabel and Dipper using his time to interrogate you. At first, it's somewhat intimidating. You literally crash into their house and start hanging out with their great uncles, so they have lots of questions. Mabel's questions are somewhat nonsensical. So if you're stranded on a desert with no boat, no cheating, what would you take with you? While Dippers are more careful and are calculated. What were you doing before you came here? School, work, both, neither? Did you know about Gravity Falls before you crashed into the shack? You immediately know which grunkle each twin takes after, Stan and Mabel, goofy partners in crime versus the quiet brainiacs, Ford and Dipper. It's such an interesting contrast, especially now that you're thrown into the middle of the bunch. But as the twins race to see which syrup bottle drips into their mouths the fastest, Dipper's blueberry syrup beats Mabel's classic maple. By half a millisecond, you swear on it. You know that these kids do a lot more for their great uncles than just be cute counterparts. Dipper's too personal. Too many questions, kid. And here we go. Enjoy, kiddos. Let me know if you need anything else. Lazy Susan gives out the respectable plates, and the kids go quiet, shoveling down their food like they've never been fed before. Between mouthfuls, you get a few more questions about yourself and your theories on aliens versus which member of M Synchronized was your favorite. But the table is near silent as the 3 of you eat. That is, until Mabel speaks through a mouthful of pancakes. So, Peach, in a totally made up and not real situation, you had to pick who your favorite was. Who'd you pick, Grunkle Stan or Grunkle Ford? This seems too planned compared to her other cutesy questions. Dipper elbows his sister in a not so subtly. Dibble elbows his sister not so subtly, and she elbows him back, wide-eyed staring at him in a sibling-linked look you can't decipher. Like, say you're in a movie. Like one of those weird movies Grunkle Stan watches on TV with the ladies in poofy dresses striding horses. Awfully specific, but you let her continue, taking another bite of your food. It's a tough question, right, Randall? You're the main character of this movie, and you got 2 guys who are both madly in love with you. This one doesn't mess around with getting right to the point, huh? But you could only marry one of them, so you could be in the next in line for the throne. What would you do? If Grunkle Stan and Grunkle Ford were your choices, who would you go with? Mabel, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, really weird. And kind of gross. Come on, Dipper. This is important information that's vital to my research. I knew Mabel would be shipping us. I was like, there's no way they made a whole game without, like, Mabel, like, being like, now kiss. What research? None of your business, yet but I'm still gathering other research. Mabel leans into Dipper's ear to whisper, waggling her brow at you before she replies, in not a whisper, but quite the opposite. Research into how you're a huge nerd. With that, Mabel catapults the spoonful of melted butter from atop her pancakes onto Dipper's cheek with a very satisfying splat. Dipper jerks in disgust, but retaliates by smearing strawberry syrup onto Mabel's nose, a drop of stickiness plopping onto her sweater. Ew, gross. You're gross. With no vitriol between the twins, but lots of giggling and a few more food missiles. There's no vitriol between the twins. Just lots of giggles and a few more various food missiles. Sometimes I feel like they tried to make it worded way too, like, elegantly. That, like, my brain is like, huh? Eventually, syrup streaks Mabel's cheekbones and some of her hair, and Dipper has a small piece of pancake stuck to his face. You guys are dorks. Maybe you're right, but we're twins, so it's adorable. If you say so, Mabel. Wait, quick. Peach, take a picture of us while Dipper's got pancake on his face. I have what? He swipes quickly at his face after several passes, gets it off. Aw, I was trying to get more candid pictures of us. Mabel, you have syrup everywhere. Really? Ugh. Then that would have been a perfect photo. Here, let me get it. Your hands are sticky enough. You get back up with a napkin in hand and try to wipe some of the syrup off Mabel's cheeks. The excess syrup swipes off easily, but a good portion doesn't budge. I mean, maybe syrup as makeup is the next new look. That's one word for it, kid. Huh? We wondered where you went once we came back to a suspiciously quiet house. If it weren't for Dipper's note, we would have been worried. Sixer would have been worried. I tried to tell him you kids pull this stuff all the time, heading out unannounced, putting stress on your poor old grunkle's heart. He puts a hand over his heart dramatically. All you see is run-on sentences, and you're a stickler for those. Stickler in what way? Run-on sentences... I think when I try writing, I do end up, doing those as well. All those missing hours of unpaid child labor. Actually, that note wasn't me. Well, I wrote it, but Peach is the one who said we should, so that you'd know where we went. Both Ford and Stan turned to look at you, surprised. Their surprised faces are too surprised. They're just like, oh! Leave a note? Oh! Really? I figured out those two knuckleheads dragged you here. Why not make breakfast at home? This place is at least 15 minutes from the shack. 15-minute walk from the shack. Well, you glance at Dipper swiping his fingers across Mabel's cheek and licking this blueberry syrup off. Mabel has a pancake in her mouth, chewing on it like a grazing sheep. I wanted to treat them to something, I guess. It's the least I can do. You're letting me stay with you and fixing my car. I thought since you're gone, I'd take these two out for a change. Definitely the same commas are something I fall on and then realize I overcomplicate it. Yeah. I'd say me too, when I'm writing. I want to add more to the sentence. And then it's like, this is too long. That's super awkward. You'd start sweating if they stared at you like that. Also, Mabel was gonna make Mabel cakes again. You're just mad you can't even make toast right. What? Yes, I can. I burned it one time. One time. Dipper holds his syrup-tipped finger in the air, indignant. Well, Mabel wanted you guys to enjoy her Mabel cakes too, and since there wasn't much food, I figured I'd take them out. Ford asked Mabel about her creation, wondering how much extra caffeine one could gain from adding instant coffee to the concoction, but Stan stays quiet. You watch him out of the corner of your eye. He's staring at you, a lopsided smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Gasp. He's looking at me. Don't worry, Dipper, I burn toast a lot. Huh. Thanks, Peach. Appreciate it. Oh, that's such a cute little expression. You blush. Oh, no problem at all. You smile warmly at Stan's, despite the heat spreading over your cheeks, but he's rubbing the back of his neck, looking down to his feet. Mabel throws you a theatrical wink your way. You're not sure why. Well, kid, if you're paying, scoot over, Dipper. I want breakfast too. Stanley. It's at least 12:30 now. Grunkle Ford, that means it's time for brunch. Duh. See? This kid gets me. Now let me in so I can get some grub. Dipper moves to your side of the booth as Stan sits next to Mabel, and Ford sits at Dipper's side. Lazy Susan comes back and takes orders for another round of food and drinks for everyone, including Mabel, who decided she wants more pancakes. I'm not surprised. Teenagers eat so much. It's because they're growing. You're starting to regret offering to pay, but as Stan and Mabel try their hand at the syrup drip race, with Dipper cheering them on, Ford watch. My gosh, this is a really long sentence. Okay. But as Stan and Mabel try their hand at the syrup drip race with Dipper cheering them on, Ford watching them with a wide grin on his face, you know you don't really mind that much. Oh, you're eating pancakes now, Basil? You get in the mood for this. Bro, I can barely eat 3 pancakes. This girl amuses me. Like I said, young kids and teenagers eat so much more than you'd think they would. My son, eats so much, and he's only 1. Honey, what would you say is, the most surprising moment Hayden's eaten so much?
He hasn't gotten to the point yet where it's crazy.
Well, he has, in some moments where it's how are you still eating?
I can't think of anything specific. Not off the top of my head.
Okay. I was thinking once, he's, eaten, more than 1 sandwich. And I was like, that's crazy. Aw, sorry you're lonely, Basil. Did I skip something? I might have. Over the next few days, you continue to help out around the Mystery Shack. Well, out of obligation, but because you have nothing better to do. Besides, Seuss, practically the golden retriever of people, is really digging the input on the current installments from an outsider's perspective. Bless his soul. The guy even offered you a job if you end up stranded here forever, dude. And need to make a life for yourself. Stan nearly choked on his ice pop as he overheard. No, you just finished these pancakes for the moon. I'm sorry. Thinking about it now, the relationship between Seuss and Stan is unexpected, if not a little odd. But it makes you smile that no matter how many times Stan may roll his eyes as he does, he'll always help Seuss get something done just right. Showered and dressed, you go outside as per usual, but you don't see anyone. After a few minutes of search, you find Stan standing. Hi, cheese! We're playing Swooning over Stans, I think it's called. Swooning over Stans? Stans? Yeah, Stans. I keep almost calling it Swooning over Sands. Because last time we played a Sands dating simulator. Now we're playing a Stan dating simulator. Stan standing. With his back to you in one of the exhibit rooms, admiring the weird and wonderful animal amalgates he's collected for his tourist trap. Hand at his chin in thought. I feel like that last one could have been just a different sentence. This person does use a lot of run-on sentences. This is 1, 2, 3 commas separating a very long sentence. Someone I know is making an Undertale AU dating sim, and I'm excited. Ooh! If they get it finished, send it to me. Am I interrupting something important between you and the Gooserky? Stan turns at the sound of your voice, smiling. Nope. You need something? You have any plans today? Are we asking him out on a date? He mulls your question over for a few minutes, giving you an assessing look up and down. I got a couple errands to run. Why? You want to tag along? Sure sounds like fun, only if you need a partner in crime. Depends what kind of errands you got in mind. I thought we were gonna ask him out on a date. I feel like it's between sure sounds like fun or only if you need a partner in crime, because only if you need a partner in crime sounds kind of like flirty, like hey. Only if you need a partner in crime. I don't know. Stan blinks in surprise. Ha! What are you, a psychic? Wait, really? It was just a figure of speech, but you guess you should have known better. Alright, I'm heading out in a couple hours. Meet me out front. A couple hours? But... no buts, Peach. You can't rush this stuff. Trust me. Okay, sure. Not ominous at all, Stan. Yeah. Meet me out in the front if you think you can handle it. He turns to go, but stops for a second, then turns back. And we're black. Something you don't mind getting turned. We're gonna rob a place. And before you can ask why, he's gone into the depths of the shack. I think we might have agreed to do something illegal. Oh, rush what, Stan? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. A couple hours turned into a handful, which you passed by watching some TV with Mabel and Dipper and dozing off. You have no idea what kind of satellite they get out there, but the shows on now are some of the most bizarre programming you've ever seen. Once you've had enough of waiting, you change into your darkest clothes and sit on the front steps of the shack, watching as the sun starts to sink past the trees. It's cloudy and unusually warm for this time of day, but there's a nice breeze out. It's strange that these errands need to happen so late in the day. Considering the things you've gathered about his criminal past, however, maybe this is a typical weekday night for Stan. Did he just change his shirt? That's it. Random fun fact, because you're eating pancakes, but pancakes expand in your stomach? Is that why you get so full of them, like quick? Huh. The screen door creaks out. The screen door creaks, and out comes Stan, dressed all in black, just like you are, with a lumpy duffel bag under one arm and a briefcase in the other hand. As he's about to speak, a sudden gust of wind comes along and ruffles his hair. He smooths it down irritatingly, before regaining his cool and nodding at you. Ready? Ready. You slide into the passenger seat as Stan settles into the driver's seat. It takes a couple tries to start, but the engine's chugging away by the time you've got your seatbelt on. The radio stammers to life as the engine does, spinning out generic-sounding rock music into the leather-scented air of the car's interior. Business Stan. After a moment spent adjusting mirrors and fiddling with knobs, Stan slots the gear shift into drive and pulls out of the Mystery Shack slot and down the road to town. Ooh, look at this! Little, animation. The radio is on, and Stan taps his fingers on the steering wheel to the beat of music while he drives. So I take it we're not making a quick trip for milk and eggs? He laughs and glances at you. Nope. Yeah, isn't it cool? Look at this guy. Then where are we going? Oh, hi, Atlas J? Hi. I'm glad more people are coming in. First stop is to see a buddy of mine, a hunter. I get all my taxidermy supplies from him. So that's where you get your parts from? Yeah? Oh, I just figured you got them from a local farm or something. I do business with those hippies? Not a chance. Well, I really enjoy making that showpiece with you the other day. I had no idea you were so creative. He glances over you with a poorly hidden surprise, turning almost immediately back to the road and shrugging. It's just gluing stuff together, really. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it takes skill. It's artistic. I like it. Maybe he should become an artist. Find that as a hobby. This. You have a real gift for it. He turns to you again. His cheeks go a little pink when he sees the smile you're giving him. Ah! Well, thanks. After a moment, he races the road again. He faces the road again. He races the road. But now he's tapping out a rhythm of the song with a little more enthusiasm and even humming the chorus as he drives. Ah, we made him happy. Do you have any other hobbies? He rolls his shoulders back with a shrug, his head tilting off a bit towards the window. These days I spend most of my time out on the boat with Ford, hunting monsters, discovering things. He pauses, watching the road without expression. I used to box. We gotta say it shows. He looks at you again, grinning. That's amazing. I wish I had grown up doing something like that. Sorry, I just saw the rest of the sentence. I wouldn't mind showing you a few things if you wanted. You know what we gotta say, guys. You know what we gotta say. I like that. About after 20 minutes of rural scenery, Stan pulls off the road and onto a long gravel driveway that disappears into the woods. You're too full to eat all the pancakes. Do you have anyone to share with, Basil? Basil made pancakes because there was a diner scene. And they made pancakes to go with the mood. But the scene went away as soon as they said they had pancakes. It was sad. Is this the place? This place looks spooky. Stan nods and rounds a turn to reveal a clearing. To reveal a clearing populated by a trailer home and a couple sheds. The trailer is a bit run down and shabby, and one of the sheds looks like it's about one strong sneeze from collapsing. No, you're lonely. Basil. Not really a place you want to be at night, while alone with the guy you particularly just met. Be honest, did you bring me here to murder me? Stan laughs, cutting the engine and resting his arm on the back of the front seat. Unfortunately, you figured it out, so now I definitely gotta kill you. I'm kidding, kid. Just relax. He moves to get out of the car, then turns back with a creepy, blank expression on his face. Or am I? You chuckle nervously and he laughs again, pushing the door open. Seriously, I'm kidding. Won't be long. At the door to the trailer, Stan knocks, and the door opens on the dark interior before he walks inside. The door shuts behind him. Give the yard a few curious glances before realizing that the weird pile of sticks you've been looking at is actually bones. You quickly pull out your phone to look at it instead. Only Papyrus is allowed to murder me. 10 minutes later, and Stan's back, carrying a large cardboard box in both hands. You see him fumble with the handle of his rear left door for a moment before you reach back over the seat and pop it open for him. A peek in the box reveals a few various shades of furry somethings and an animal skull you don't recognize. This doesn't seem like something worth busting out all your darkest duds for. We aren't by chance robbing a bank, are we? Because I would have brought gloves. Stan laughs. No, nothing like that. He starts up the car again and you're back on the road. Somehow I'm not quite convinced. Well, who knows where the night's gonna take us? Could be legal, could be not. Is that a problem? Fursuit. Yeah, that's what I thought too. It was like furry somethings. Ooh. Guys, I think this is a date. Can we swing by a jeweler? I want to. Can we swing by the jeweler? I need a new watch. Ha! You're right, kid. Jump out of the car. Stan takes the highway. The final minutes of the sun sets burnt orange and purple ahead of you, while the welcome sign for Gravity Falls disappears into the rearview mirror. A new song comes on the radio, something bright and bouncy with lyrics about love, and his fingers get back to tapping. In the retreating light, you can see faded patches on the rim of the steering wheel, the color worn away by decades worth of his touch. The passenger seat you sit in hasn't yet taken on the shape of someone specific. Even after all this time, the springs still feel brand new. Meanwhile, on the driver's side, Stan settled easily into his seat, which fits him as well as the finely tailored jacket. That's an interesting writing way of showing that he usually drives this car alone, or like he doesn't have a partner. Like, that's an interesting writing way. I like that. You tuck your leg under its mate, leaning back into the dark leather of the DeVille's. I don't know cars. DeVille's? Is that how you pronounce it? Or DeVille's? Interior, and watch cars pass and recede out the windshield. After a few minutes of music, back to silence, you feel like breaking it. I'm impatient. Marry him now. Tell him a joke. Ask about him. Ask about his car. I want to change your title and game category. What did I say on it? Undertale thing? Let's see what's going on here. Playing. It's Swooning over Stance, right? Swooning over Stance. Thank you for reminding me. I just literally just hit get rid of Undertale, get out of here. It's not letting me. Dating. I wish there was like a dating sim category. You know? Sorry. I should have done this. Oh hey, Swooning Over Stands does have a category. So. Okay, it is updated. Thank you for reminding me, Ram. Okay, I'm gonna ask about him. You from Oregon originally? Nah, I'm from out east Jersey, a little town called Glass Shard Beach. Ah yes, name your town after something dangerous. That'll bring the tourists in. You'd be surprised. What's it like? He shrugs. Well, why move out here? That's a long story. Oh no, did I make him mad at me? Don't be mad at me. Yeah, I think I changed the Undertale thing too, Basil. I changed it to this game, hopefully. His voice is quiet and he watches the road ahead with intense focus, but the expression doesn't last long before he brightens and smiles over at you. You don't want to hear it anyways. Tell a joke. Why do chicken coops have 2 doors? Why are there fences around graveyards? Okay, it's changed on your side. Good. Which one should I do, guys? The title's updated. The genre still says Undertale. Well, I changed the genre. Or the category. Maybe it'll take a bit to change. Yeah. Oh well. Which one should I do? Which joke? Chickens. Why did chicken coops have 2 doors? I'm afraid that he's not gonna laugh. Okay, I'll do that one. Stan glances over at you, double checking that this is the setup to a joke. I don't know. Why? Because if they had 4 doors, they'd be chicken sedans. Stan laughs. Ha! That's pretty good. He thinks for a moment, presumably to come up with a joke on his own. Alright, a blonde walks into a bank in New York City. Oh no, this isn't gonna be one of those awful blondes are dumb jokes, is it? He levels a withering look on you. Can I tell the joke? I don't know, can you? You grin with the lower lip caught between your teeth, clearly joking, and he chuckles. Anyway, blonde walks into a bank in New York. She goes up to the bank manager and she says, I'd like to take out a loan for $5,000. I'm taking a vacation overseas. The car passes you on the highway, going 20 over the speed limit, and Stan swears at them, then stifles it. Yeesh, night drivers. So the bank manager goes, well, miss, do you have collateral? We'd need collateral for that kind of loan. And she nods and says she does, and she takes the bank manager out to the parking lot where she's got a $50,000 Ferrari waiting. And she says, this is my car. You can hold on to it until I pay back my loan. Stan continues glancing over at you and trying to suppress a smile. The bank manager is confused, but he figures if this lady doesn't pay, he's going to have a nice new Ferrari in his garage, so he agrees. The sign for an exit ahead points off to the right, the text reading Country Road 328, and Stan takes it off the highway. The title and category are updated on the home screen of the site. It's all good? Okay, good. Good. So he gives the blonde her 5 Gs. She hands him the keys to her car and she heads off to Europe. A month later, she shows back up to the bank with the 5 Gs and the interest for the loan, which figures out to be about $15. Stan continues, turning down an unlit gravel road, the headlights casting spooky shadows through the trees. The bank manager takes the repayment for the loan and the interest and has one of his employees bring the car out in front of the bank for the blonde. This is a long joke. This is like a joke my thought that tells me. It's like, okay, get to the point. Out ahead on the road, a deer turns its face to the car and then leaps across the road to disappear into the woods. Just before she leaves, the bank manager stops the blonde and says, Lady, I'm real confused here. You're clearly loaded enough to afford this car, and you paid back the loan and then some. Why take out the loan if you're so rich? And the lady turns to them, runs a hand through her hair, and says, Basil says, how do people tell long jokes like this? Like a barely remember show joke. Yeah, exactly. Where else can I park my car in New York City for 2 weeks for only $15? Okay, but like, I don't find it as funny as I find it like, okay, but if for real, kind of smart. It's funny. You burst into wild laughter and he laughs along with you. Alright, I take it back. That was the best blonde joke I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, at least it wasn't the blonde is stupid kind of jokes. Just as you finish speaking, Stan pulls up to the side of the road and the engine dies. As you step out of the car, the unearthly silence of the woods envelops the two of you. Out in the woods ahead, you see a single bright light. Is this the place? Just about. Is he gonna murder us? Not funny joke, but more of motivation that the man can remember such a long joke. Yeah, it's more of a, like, like, being like, well, good for you. This is a dating sim. We have to play by what will the character like, not necessarily what I'm actually doing in real life. You follow him back towards the trunk, which he opens quietly and slowly, frowning as it squeaks. Whoa. What are we doing here? You might not guess it looking at me, but I got a thing. The two of you stare at each other for a moment, and he looks a little nervous. For art. Definitely, yeah, gotta play the game by the rules. Last time I went by my motivation, I got one of the characters angry, yeah. He's got a thing for art. I got a thing for art. Really, I do too. He brightens, smiling in the dim haze of the trunk light. Well, this chump, up this hill here, has one by this artist, Gustave Cluneg. Stuck it from right out under me at an auction. I've been trying to buy it off of you for years. The jerk won't sell no matter how much I offer him. And trust me, you meet this guy, you know he's out of spite. Okay, he meant a thing for modern art, and I don't have a thing for modern art because modern art is dumb. Modern art is really dumb. It's just rich people art. So we're stealing it? You gotta get it. Well, frankly, I'm surprised you haven't done this sooner. Stan laughs quietly, fishing around in the duffel bag for you don't know what. Wait till you see. It's a masterpiece. I've been waiting 6 months for him to go out of town. Robbery date, let's go. You're drawing Blaze Amy and watching the stream at the same time. Aw. Send a picture in the Discord. I don't mind you guys telling me if you're drawing something. I really like seeing other people's artwork. Robbery date. Robbery date. Robbery date. Robbery date. Here, take these. He pulls a pair of gloves from the bag, handing them to you. When you slide them on, they fit almost perfectly. How did he know my glove size? I guess your size right? You nod, wiggling your fingers. He's an expertise in hands. Stan chuckles, pulling on a pair of his own. A set of black leather driving gloves with silver snap closures that glint in the light from the truck. Oh, goodness. Sorry, I saw another message type up and my brain wanted to read that at the same time. You wanted to write before bed while watching, but you can't be asked to stare at a white empty Google Doc sheet, yeah. It's always the problem with writing. I've been getting back into writing again. I used to be better at it. But I think getting back into art has made it so it's hard finding the patience to write when I'm like, my brain is like, I could just see this visually, you know. You ready, kid? As I'll ever be. Stan tucks a few things into the inner pockets of his jacket and that you can't see in the low light, and with the trunk shut just as quietly as it was opened, you follow him up into the woods towards the distant light. You kind of started writing, but you already have writer's block, yeah. I started posting a Pokemon fanfic, but I realized, like, maybe I should write out the plot line so I don't get stuck somewhere. You didn't finish the story I sent, but you're glancing over it. It was cute. Tell me if you read it more. The story that's called Watcher, that's really good. I love it. They're still updating, which is good. I hate it when I find a good fanfic and it's not updated. As you near it, a porch takes shape within the light's glow. Behind it, the dark shape of a house sits in the even darker woods. Stan leads you past the front porch and around the corner of the house, to a set of stairs that appears to lead into a basement. Ah, this is my favorite part. He withdraws a small black shape from his pocket and something that looks like it might be a pen. The pen-shaped thing turns out to be a small flashlight, and he holds it in his teeth as he opens the black case to reveal a set of lock-picking tools. You're a lucky person, kid. You get to see the artist in action. He gets to work, inserting one tool in and wiggling it down the bottom. Is this a typo? Wiggling it down the bottom of the keyhole. I think I found a typo. Happens to you all the time. You literally had a background idea while you were in the shower, but then it escapes you. Yeah. That's why I like, I don't know, I like drawing more sometimes. Because like sometimes you get like the most beautiful, like eloquent sentence, and then when you go to write it, it's just like, this doesn't make sense in real life. Gets to work inserting one tool in and wiggling it down the bottom of the keel, then pulling out another and poking at the innards of the lock with it. You glance around in the darkness as he works, half expecting to get caught before you get anywhere, before the lock clicks and stands, opening the door for you with a flourish. I say that was so cool. You gotta butter him up. He beams with pride, and you smile politely as you step through the door in front of him. The basement is unlit. It smells like dust and mildew, the air sour with wet dirt and mold. Stan moves past you in the dark, his little pen flashlight still lit, and leads you through a cobwebby laundry room and towards a door across the bottom of the set of rickety wooden stairs. You wrote part of your AU instead of going to sleep. That's me. Wait till you see this, kid. He picks the lock of the door just as quickly as he picked the last, and the door creaks open into a dark room with odd flooring barely lit by Stan's flashlight. Stan goes first, and you follow him in. And as you follow him in, he hits a light switch, revealing a beautifully designed gallery with plush scarlet carpets and gleaming wood panels full of paintings of sad clowns. Ooh, 2 Undertale AU stories. I love AUs too. Painting of sad clowns. I'm taking a look at these. This one kind of looks creepy. This one just looks sad. Excuse me. This one's like laying down. This is just like up close face. Stan looks more excited than you've seen him yet. His arms crossed over his chest and a warm smile on his face. Can you believe that hillbilly chump has a collection like this? You shake your head slowly, still looking around the room with wide eyes. No depresso espresso clowns. Someday all of these are gonna be mine. Come on, I'll show you the one we're here to get. You follow him to the back of the room, and he stops in front of a large painting of a clown with bright red lips and blue circles on his cheeks. His eyes outlined in black with comically large eyelashes painted onto his eyelids. His neck's ruff droops sadly, and his costume is dingy and worn. What do you think? This is beautiful. You gotta go with the quote. This is beautiful. You really like this kind of thing? No kidding? Stan's voice is edged with hope. They're all beautifully done. Honestly, from what I can see, they're all really pretty. I don't know if I would want them in my house, but I can appreciate art that's actually, like, done well, you know? And not just, like, some dumb modern art that's, like, dots that the rich person paid someone else to do and calls his own. Looking at you, Jackson Pollock. This is a Jackson Pollock hate stream. It's nice to meet somebody who really appreciates these like I do. It's excellent, especially as an art piece. Well, why not? This is a masterpiece. The way the artist has captured his pain, the way the framing makes him look small and pitiful, even though he takes up most of the canvas. Oh gosh. This is if you actually put me in art class. The juxtaposition of the Well, let's get this thing off. I'm not reading that whole thing. It's too nerdy for me. Well, let's get this thing off the wall and out of here. As he works to get the clone egg? Anyone speak whatever language that is? Tell me how exactly that's pronounced. Clone egg? You wander the room looking at the other paintings. As you look over a portrait of a mime with dirt on his white and black striped shirt, you're suddenly grabbed by your shoulders. Boo! Ah! You scream, eyes shut in fear as you throw a weak karate chop at the source of the noise, making an unimpressive contact with something solid and muscular. After a moment's panic, you squeeze whatever the thing is with your hands and open your eyes, finding... Ha! Was that supposed to hurt me? Stan's arm and shoulder. Boy, he's really packing some heat there. Wow. Sorry. I didn't want to scream too loud. Sorry if the scream sounded too weird. Ag! He laughs, apparently very pleased with himself for scaring the absolute life out of you. You need those boxing tips even more than I thought. You couldn't defend yourself from a fly with moves like that. You laugh shakingly, and it's then you realize you're still feeling up Stan's arm. Sorry about that. You pull your hands away a bit too fast and he chuckles, blushing all the way up to his ears. No problem, kid. Don't tell me it sounded weird. The scream sounded too weird. I didn't even think about it. He clears his throat and the silence between you begins to grow awkward before it's interrupted. Romance on the robbery date. Upstairs, in what's supposed to be an empty house, you hear footsteps crossing towards the door to the basement. Stan apparently hears them too. A sudden series of expressions crossing his face from shock to confusion to terror and finally settling on indignation. He quickly takes you by the arm, whispering harshly in your ear as he drags you towards the entrance of the clown room. As soon as he comes in here, shut the door and I'll shove these boxes in front. You nod. And just as a line of light from the top of the stairs blooms into a wide swath, you and Stan duck behind a wall near the door to freedom, one corner of the stolen paintings poking you uncomfortably in the ribs. No, that's the kind of scream you make when you read. You don't like being loud. I'm probably scared. I have neighbors. I can't scream loud, guys. Who's down there? Slippered feet come down the wooden steps behind you, and when their owner notices the light on, he holds something long and gun-shaped out in front of himself. Pines, if that's you, I swear to God, I'm gonna shoot you this time. This is his first time doing it. Gun-shaped? Gun-shaped? Gun! Stan nudges you, jabbing a thumb towards the door leading outside, and jerks his head towards it. You take a step out from behind the wall, take Stan's hand in your own and pull him into a jog and then a run, and the two of you scrambling up the concrete steps out into the cool night air as a voice swears behind you. Stan kicks the door shut on his way out, and there's a startled yelp behind you as it makes contact with the owner of the house. There's more swearing, but you lose it behind you as you run, flashlight in one hand and Stan's hand in the other. What if we held hands on the robbery date? When you reach the tree line, you part and maneuver your way through the bushes and brambles, Stan crashing through them behind you. As you run, a deafening gunshot goes off behind you and you realize that you're being chased. Holy smokes, run for it, Peach! The noises get closer, close enough that you hear your pursuer swearing continually and loudly.
What? What's going on? Why are you crying? Hi. My cat is meowing.
You slow a bit, flashing your light behind you and raising the beam to find the distant but visibly enraged face of a man with a rifle in his hands. Acting on pure instinct, you fling the flashlight in the direction of the angry man and take off running again. After a moment, the man cries out. The sounds of pursuit fade with one final cry. Damn you, Pines! Stan cackles. Sounds like you hit him. That's one talkative cat, yeah. She talks a lot. That's Cleo. You reach the Stanmobile first, sliding into the passenger seat as Stan slips his new clown egg. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Clown egg. Do you guys know what clown eggs are? In order to copyright their face makeup look, you have to the clowns have to paint a clown egg, and that's how they copyright. So I'm pretty sure it must be pronounced clownake. That makes so much sense. I'm like beating myself up for something that like not a lot of people know of with clowns. But I like it. I think it's so interesting. So are we gonna make up now? Slips his new clown egg into the back seat before joining you in front, both of you panting and huffing. Stan hurriedly starts the engine and pulls off. At the next driveway, he does the fastest three-point turn you've ever seen in your life, and then peels down the gravel road and screeches out onto the highway. Stan's quiet for a second before letting loose into wild, triumphant laughter. I thought he was gonna catch me that time for sure. Did a man just shoot at us? Stan nods, still chuckling and apparently pretty pleased he didn't get hit. He lets out a long, loud sigh, his white-knuckled hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. Yeah, that was... Holy moly. You okay, Peach? That was a lot. Yeah, a little shaky, but I'm good. I'll let you know what I find out. He pulls back onto the highway, back in the direction you came from, and you lapse into a comfortable silence. Shut up and kiss me, Stan. After a while, he starts humming along with the radio, and knowing the song this time, you hum along with him. Gravity Falls welcome sign passes by again, but the route Stan's taking doesn't seem to lead back to the Mystery Shack. Instead, you come to a stop outside rows and rows of used cars, a car dealership. Stan slides out of the car, withdrawing something from a pocket within the breast of his jacket. Once you get out and around to the front bumper, you see that it's a cigar. You mind if I smoke? See, here's where I would say yeah, because like I hate cigarette smoke. It smells so nasty. I'm very torn. I'm gonna say no, go ahead. It's just, I don't know him. Thanks. I don't like smoking around the kids, you know. I'm already a bad influence. He chuckles and withdraws a patch of matches. Draws a pack of matches. I'm guessing it's from his pocket. Another typo. And his face is bathed in the light of the flame. From your place a ways down the road, Stan surveys the lot, eyes sweeping back and forth until they land on what looks to be a fuse box under the dark overhang of the roof on the far side of the dealership. What are we getting? New drive belt, some spark plugs, a couple of other things I can't remember the name of and aren't worth explaining. It won't take all night though, right?
Cleo cat, what do you need? You have water, you have food. Yes, I hear you.
He shakes his head, taking a long drag from the cigar, smoke rolling off his lips and into the night. Though I have to admit, in art, like someone's smoking, and if it looks like it's actual smoke, waving and stuff, it actually is really pretty. You lean back against the front bumper of the car next to him and stuff your hands in your pockets. There isn't much light pollution around here, so the stars are bright and numerous above. Provided your car gets fixed up, this might not turn out to be such a bad trip. You take a deep breath in through your nose to smell of sweet, heady cigar smoke and crisp night air filling your lungs. So, how are we doing this? You gotta get rid of the lights. I doubt Bud's clever enough to have night vision cameras. He laughs a little as he speaks, smoke blowing into the night with each individual laugh. But we cut the power to the whole place and the cameras are gonna be gone anyway. So we cut the power, find a car the same make and model as yours, and I dig out the parts your car needs, an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops. I can get the lights. Stan turns his head and looks at you, waving away a fresh cloud of smoke as he accidentally inhales in your direction. Or exhales in your direction. You sure? No, but I can try if you explain it to me. Get to the fuse box and just flip the biggest switch. Easy, like you see in the movies. The two of you stand there in silence for a few more minutes before he bends down and grinds his cigar cold on the asphalt, straightening with a groan and a huff of quiet laughter. Yeesh. Starting to remember why I quit doing this kind of thing. You sure you're alright with this, kid? You know, robbing the place? You don't think I can do it? I'll do it. I'll do it for you. No, that's not it. You've been keeping up with me just fine all night. You just don't seem like you have a lot of experience here. I think I've gotten plenty of experience tonight, oh well. I'll do anything for you. He smiles, a warm and genuine expression that ignites something fuzzy and soft inside you. You don't notice you're staring until he turns away and moves away towards the trunk. I'm pretty good at dating sims. I know which one's gonna make the character smile. He reaches into the car and pulls a lever under the driver's side of the front seat, and the trunk pops open. You fall into it, and after rummaging around in its contents for a minute, he brings out a pair of pliers. Alright, you go over and take care of the lights. I got a few things to get together. You crouch down behind the fence when you reach the lot, scrambling along the shadows until you reach the dealership's main building. With a peek over the edge, you see that the wall of the building is... There's a lot of talking for me tonight. Is cast in shadow from a poorly placed streetlight. See, this is the thing, like, I love dating sims, but then I gotta read everything. Another peek, and you spot a car the same make as yours off to the back of the lot near a sign that says, Discount section, big deals. It takes an embarrassing amount of effort to get over the fence, but you manage it and press yourself flat against the wall, inching towards the fuse box. It's locked, but you pry it open with the pliers and look over what's inside. A bunch of switches, some wires. Flip the biggest switch. That's what he said. With your face pinched in concentration, you push the biggest switch in the opposite direction and the entire property goes dark. You slip the tools into your back pocket and take a look around just to make sure the power's out. Yeah, that's why I liked Lonely Hearts Club too. It's because it talks for me, so I don't have to talk too much. You're 100,000% used to reading. They always make you narrate. Can you narrate my stuff too? You slip your tools into your back pocket and take a look around to make sure the power's out. With a satisfied nod, you feel your way into the parking lot, knocking your shins on 3 separate cars before you figure out you should probably just stop and wait for Stan. Where you at, kid? His voice isn't far away, but he isn't close either. You feel your way around a SUV, then a sedan. The gravel in the parking lot crunches under your feet, and you reflexively stare down at the ground ahead of you as your eyes slowly adjust to the darkness. Out ahead of you, a flashlight turns on and scans the lot until it finds you. Found you. He sounds amused, probably at the way you're standing with your arms spread wide over a sleek, modern sports car. Getting familiar with the merchandise, yeah? You give the car an awkward pat and make your way towards the beginning of the flashlight's beam. You see anything the same make as yours before you shut the lights off? Yeah, there's one in the discount section. It's kind of insulting now that you think about it, actually. He hands you the flashlight when you reach him, and you start slowly back towards the discount cars. Discount. Your car it's a classic. It's usually extremely reliable. To be perfectly honest, it's not even your fault that it's in the States and was Ford in his whatever it is. You're deep in salty thoughts when hands suddenly grip your ribs on either side. Gotcha. Ugh! You scream and throw back an elbow at whatever's got a hold of you, and you hear Stan yelp and fall into a clatter of kid gravel and metal clanking together. He scared you again. See, this is where it's like, in reality, I would say, cut it out, dude. You like how we just crashed at this guy's place not too long ago, and now we're on a robbing date? Yeah. We're like, I trust you 100% with my life. I'm gonna say, wow, you really got me there. Holy smokes, kid. You turn the flashlight to where you heard him fall, and you find him, a hand cupped over his face, blood dribbling out from between his gloved fingers. Yeah, I deserved that one. Oh shit, I didn't. I'm really sorry. Nah, Nah, I'll be alright. Just help me up. Serves you right. You tuck the still lit flashlight into your back pocket for a moment, reaching down and finding his hands in the dark to pull him up. Once he's on his feet, you retrieve the flashlight from your pocket. As you bring the beam to Stan's face, you find him holding a handkerchief over his nose and squinting. He's apparently brought a backpack with him, and it's sitting on the ground behind him where he presumably dropped it when you elbowed him. You know, that was a solid hit. You got a lot of power in there. I don't know if you were just saying it to be nice earlier, but I really could show you some moves. Teach you how to direct that strength. Yeah, that sounds fun. He removes the hanky from his nose for a moment, gently prodding at the bridge of his nose with a finger and frowns. Well, it's not broken, that's for sure. That's good. He laughs quietly, taking a clean corner of the handkerchief and dabbing his nose with it, grimming and sniffling hard when it comes back still clean. Good to go. Are you sure you're alright? Yeah, of course. I've got worse beatings than that, believe me. His face is flushed from the sudden injury, but he does look otherwise okay. So you sigh and pat your hands on your hips. Then let's finish this. He reaches out towards you, then catches a glimpse of the blood and reconsiders, wiping his gloves as clean as he can with the hanky. When you reach the car you spotted earlier, he pops the hood and drops his pack onto the ground next to the bumper, unzipping it to reveal a jumble of various wrenches and tools. Isn't it bad that he's leaving his blood at the crime scene? Oh no. Alright, hold the flashlight steady on the engine and keep an eye out. I'm gonna keep a lookout like you told me. Doesn't take long for him to get what he needs for your car, shutting the hood and setting his pack on it as he stuffs parts into it. I'm very scared, guys. That was quick. Nah, the parts you needed are easy to find. Just takes the right. Hey, what's going on in there? That you, bud? The beam of the flashlight finds you both, and Stan turns around quickly, leaving the bag behind himself on the hood. Yeah? Pines? What the heck happened to your face? And what are you doing here at... Hey, are you stealing parts again? How has he not gone to jail? No. Stan inches closer to you until your shoulders touch, and behind you, he pushes the bag into your hands before lowering his voice to speak to you. Run for it. Keep the bag out of sight and toss it into some bushes nearby. I'll get it later. You nod, picking up the bag and holding it behind yourself. The flashlight by the road moves closer, and you slowly scoot away from the car and backwards. Hey you, where are you going? You move backwards a little faster, still keeping the bag out of sight, and when the light leaves you to check on Stan, you make a break for it towards the back fence, throwing the bag over it ahead of you. A new voice nearby speaks, and you yelp. Hey, where are you going, burglar? You're under arrest for burglary. There's a shout from Stan behind you, and then a heavy thud, and one of the car alarms starts squealing. You're so surprised by the alarm that the second cop gets his hands around your wrists and slaps a pair of handcuffs on you. Better quit your squirming there, buddy. We caught you fair and square. Come on, Blubs. I saved the town from an international demon. Give me a break. Sorry, Stan. We got a job to do. Stan grumbles quietly, and the man behind you leads you towards the road behind Stan and Blubs, who's now got him in cuffs. You need to get out of this, but how? I have no idea what to do. Oh dear, we've been caughted. Robbery date turns into jail date. Trying to grab something. I don't think it's a good idea to grab a gun. Either option realistically would turn into a worse charge. Well, there isn't trying to go for a not as worse charge option, Randall. This one. You close the space between you and the cop behind you. Once something moves between your fingers, you grab it, bringing it back. Well, you're not sure it is, but it feels cold and metal, so you slip it into your back pocket. Ah, shoot, Durland. We don't have the cruiser. Me and my ideas for romantic strolls in the moonlight. Oh, they were on a date. We ruined their date with our robbery date. Well, why don't we just commandeer Stan's car? Commander Stan's car. Do you mean commandeer? I don't know. Edwin Durdland, you are an absolute delight, and I cherish having you as my life partner. Durdland giggles behind you, and Blubs giggles with him. For each other's dates. The two of them push you and Stan into the back of his seat, crowding you in with the clown egg. Stan grips it protectively, muttering under his breath about the fuzz. He's quiet for most of the ride, only speaking up once. You okay, Peach? Yeah, I'm alright. I mean, I'm okay as long as I can be since I've been arrested. I'll get back to you on that. He falls silent after he responds and stays that way all the way back to the station. Inside the station, Durland leads you to a pair of chairs by a desk, and Blubs disappears around the hallway. Blubs is back after a few minutes, a deep frown set on his face, and after directing his frown at Durland, he takes you and Stan down another hallway to a set of cells. At first, he withdraws a set of keys and opens the door. You and Stan are uncuffed, and with a solid and somewhat alarming clang, the cell door shuts and locks. Whoever said this was going to be a jail is it's now true. You two better get comfortable. We'll get your prints in the morning. Stan grumbles, settling down onto one of the provided bunk beds, and you sit down on the one next to it facing you. He peels off his gloves, tucking them inside out into his pocket, and fiddles with a loose thread on the thin wool blanket on the bunk bed. Through the door at the end of the hallway, you hear Durland say something about fancy black finger paints to Blurbs. Here in the bright fluorescent lights, you can see that he still has a lot of blood smeared under his nose and on his chin, and you feel a flush of embarrassment when you remember that you're the one that did it to him. Can't wait to see how everyone back home reacts. If I really say, well, this is not so great, or I'm really in jail right now, I'm having some weird nightmare. But how are we gonna get out of here? Stan shrugs, crossing his arms over his chest and flopping back onto the mattress. Don't think we can, kid. I'll see if I can convince them that you got hypnotized or something into coming along with me. Keep you out of trouble. Listen, if you're going down for this, then so am I. He laughs quietly, propping himself on his elbows. I'm a ride or die kind of gal. You don't want to get in trouble with the law, kid, trust me. This isn't my first time spending the night in jail. Not by a long shot. Sounds rough. Yeah, well, so it goes. This won't be bad compared to the 5 years in a Colombian prison. There's a story behind that, but he doesn't look like he wants to tell it at the moment. Anyway, the only way we're getting out of here is with the keys. Then we could just slip out a window or something. You think for a moment, stuffing your hands in your pockets, and suddenly remember the thing you grabbed off the second cop, Durland. Oh wait. Jump to your feet, dig into your back pocket, withdrawing the small metal thing you stole to find out it's a set of car keys on a plastic keepsake photo fob. Stan's not looking, staring down at the floor of the cell instead, but you think you know what to do with these. You go up to the bars of the cell looking for Durland. Hey, can you hear me out there? You dropped your car keys. The faint discussion in the other room stops, and a moment later Durland comes into view. Where'd you get it? My keepsake key fob. I've been looking for that. You hold it out through the bars with both hands. As he reaches for the key fob, you reach out to his belt with your right hand and unclip the rein of keys from his belt. He doesn't notice. Durland thanks you for returning his key fob and gives both you and Stan a scrutinizing stare before heading back down the hallway through the door. You hold out the keys in front of yourself and jiggle them triumphantly. Look what I got off Durland. Stan stares at your hand in disbelief, then at you, then at the keys, and back at you before laughing incredulously. Are you sure you don't have experience with this kind of thing? I just rolled a nat 20 on that pickpocket there. Stan takes the keys from you, looking them over in his palm. He smiles up at you, then looks down at the keys and covers his mouth with his hand, dragging it over his chin. I can't believe I've been shown up by a tourist. We'll get used to it, buddy, because I've got skills. I got skills. He looks proud, smiling up at you like you just handed him $1 million. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get the heck out of here. Look at your man, then back to me. Look at your man, then back to me. Sadly, he isn't me. That's exactly what I thought. It's like he's looking back and forth. He stands as you reach through the bars and try keys until one works. The door swings open with a quiet creak, and you creep down the hallway to the door. You open with a crack, looking out into the lobby and see Blubs asleep at the front desk, Derlin not in sight. Slowly you pull the door open and move into the lobby. Stan taps your shoulder and whispers low. Gotta get my keys. You see him anywhere? You glance around and spot them next to where Blubs is asleep, drool pooling on the table. Shoot. Crossing your fingers for luck, you sneak over to the desk and reach down to grab them when suddenly Blurb stirs and mumbles. Dang Bigfoot, stealing my shoes. Stretching on my shoes. Stan snorts behind you and you manage to suppress a laugh as you pluck the keys away. Wait, hold on. Stan disappears into another room and you're stunned, wondering what the hell he could be doing right now that's more important than escaping. Before you have a chance to call him something you might regret later, he appears in a doorway with the troublesome clown painting under his arm. Seriously? Duh. Alright, let's roll. Slipping out with only a click of the station door closing behind you, you and Stan climb into his car and escape into the night. After stopping by Bud's dealership to pick up the hidden backpack, you and your partner in crime head back to the shack in comfortable silence. You'd feel tired if it weren't for the adrenaline. You carry the backpack inside while Stan brings in the clown egg and the briefcase, setting both down on the kitchen table. I'd call that a successful night. Even though we got arrested, so would I. And fun too. You grin over at him and realize in the bright kitchen light that he's still got blood on his face. How do you keep forgetting? You're the one who elbowed him after all. Well, come here. You pull one of the chairs out from under a table, gesturing for him to sit down. Whoa, what the heck, dude? Guys, look at this art. He looks a little wary, but obeys, the chair's ancient metal frame creaking out under his weight. You grab a couple paper towels, turning on the faucet in the sink and wetting them. I'm not gonna get in the towels, dude. I'm gonna clean them up. Mentally steadying yourself, you hold the side of his face and neck in your hand. With a gentle pressure, you guide his head to tilt back until he's lit up fully by the overhead light. You can feel him blush under your hand, his skin heating up, and he seems too surprised to protest or even speak as you wipe the now dried blood from his face. How romantic. What if we cleaned the blood off of each other's faces after a robbery date that turned into a jail date? He's quiet while you work, watching you with warm brown eyes rimmed by dark lashes. I could have taken care of this myself, you know. He says this, but he hasn't pulled away or made any move to leave. I did the damage. The least I could do is clean up after myself. Anyway, you've done plenty as it is. You'll be about to kiss. Yeah, that's what I thought was like perfect kissing. The paper towels you have become too soiled to work with, so you toss them in the trash and go back to get a few more. Your hand returns to his cheek and you could be imagining things, but it almost feels like he leans into it. I really did have a good time with you tonight. I had no idea crime could be so much fun. What are you doing? Cleo, what did you find? It's so noisy. He smirks, avoiding your gaze. I had a good time too. You pause for a moment, realizing something. Those cops aren't going to come after us, are they? Dan shrugs. Probably not. They're nice enough guys, but not exactly competent. You laugh quietly and he smirks at you. You stand back to make sure you're finished and toss the last paper towels into the trash. You sure it's not broken? Nah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Your hand lingers on his cheek. We gotta hug him, guys. Okay, give him a hug. Hug him. You take a fortifying deep breath and lean down, wrapping your arms around him. car parts. You pull away and he's got a funny look on his face. For the good time. Well, good night. He stares at you for a moment with that look on his face, then composes himself and gives you a goofy smile. Sleep tight, Peach. No kiss? You brush your teeth and change into your pajamas. It's not until you get into bed that you realize you're still smiling. The rush from it all hasn't completely faded, but after a while your eyes grow heavy and you drift off to sleep. Nobody back home is ever gonna believe this. It's like you were made for each other. Can you give me dating tips? You're good at this. Ooh. Okay, I think I'm gonna save here for tonight. I have been doing this for 2 hours, almost 2 hours in the Did I play this? I think I played this before at one point. I don't remember. But yeah, I've been playing for 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours, and I think I'm done for tonight. But I will pick this up again on some other stream. I've been drooling over Stan for 2 hours. You have. Okay, guys. It was nice to have you. I hope you guys enjoyed the VTuber I made. I really enjoy it too. Just gonna go like this.